Wow. Man, this fresh air is just incredible. Whew. It's a little bit difficult having climbed up this far, but I thought that with the new year, it would be great to show you just this wonderful scenery. You know, we can kind of enjoy the natural landscape in Korea and study Korean at the same time. I thought it would be a nice idea. How are all of you doing today? Fortunately, I get really good Wi-Fi up here, so that's how I'm streaming right now. Let's see. Welcome, Sigominko for the live Italian class. See? 새해 복 많이 받으세요, everyone. Happy New Year. Nice green screen. Is there green somewhere? I see lots of blue and brown. Not quite sure what you're talking about. Oh, Mikey! Mikey, thank you. Our first donation of 2026 is Mikey. First on board. Yes, you are the first for the entire year. Wow. How must that feel? I don't know, actually. You're probably like, eh. Look out for those seagulls. Ah, yeah, are there seagulls? I don't see any seagulls here. This is a mountain though. So there aren't going to be any seagulls around here that I know of. Welcome. Indescribable feeling. Well, a really simple way to say you can describe something. I mean, there is the verb for describe, but that's not what you use. In Korean, for describing an emotion, you actually use the word 표현하다, to express. So you could say something like, just keep it simple. 표현 is an expression, not a facial expression, but a word expression. So you can use 표현하다. So you could say something like 표현하기 어렵다, difficult to describe, or 표현할 수 없다, cannot describe. And you can combine that with whatever you want to say is difficult to describe or you can't describe. Like, what was it that you asked specifically? Indescribable feeling. So feeling would be like 느낌, for example. You can say 말로, in words, 말로 표현할 수 없는 느낌. Like a feeling that you cannot describe in words. 말로 표현할 수 없는 느낌. Kind of like that. But you could say it a lot of different ways. Just like, oh, 표현하기 어렵네. It's difficult to describe. Or you can just straight up say something is incredible, you know. Oh, hold on, I got another donation. It's Kai, okay? It's Kai. Thank you, Kai. It's Kai. Okay. Kai is the second donation. Is that why you are doing $2 for the second donation of the year? Thank you. This is a very isolated. It's not a beach. We're not on a beach. We're up in the mountain, and that's a temple up on the mountain, a Buddhist temple. There are a lot of these types of places in Korea, several I can think of right now, where you'll hike up to a mountain, and there will be like a spot where you can kind of look out over the city, like where I am right now. And if you look up, you can see on the cliff or close to the edge, there will be a Buddhist temple. It's kind of like a common feature. A lot of the Buddhist temples that are up in mountains kind of have that sort of same vibe where you're getting up to the top and you can see the temple on the corner, like kind of on the edge of the cliff. And then you look out and you can see, you know, the city or whatever, depending on where you're at. Hey, Cosma, hold on. I have to convert your donation, but I'm going to read your message first. How can I use my time playing with Koreans the most? Ah, okay. So, like online games. I don't know how much that is, so I'll have to check it. I'll have to check it when I go back to my computer in a second. So most times you're saying during the games, I just do basic call outs and I don't end up making real sentences. During a game is not the best. Like during a game is not going to be the best time to do Korean practice, especially a game where you're rushing. Like, you know, like any of those like Dota, League of Legends. What are those games that are like kind of quick? Like Fortnite, any of those games where the games are short and you're just saying like, hey, do this, go left, go right. Oh, check behind. That stuff's not the best for practicing Korean for higher level stuff. Better would be during the waiting period, like while you're waiting to join, when your team's getting assembled, saying hi during that time is probably better, or playing different games, because honestly, those aren't the best games for learning Korean anyway. Who's going to be in those games? It's going to be like young adults, like teenagers, people who have a lot of free time who aren't studying, which most people are. Maybe they're on a break or something like that. Try to find games. If you want to practice Korean with games, try to find games where people will be talking more casually. So I thought that when I used it before, VR chat worked pretty well for that. I think people are there. They're not there to like play games so much. They're just there to kind of hang out and talk. I found a lot of people were just willing to just chat. I don't play too many games this day. I'm trying to think what else. But you want a game where you have lots of time, where you're not in a rush to win. If you can think of a game where you're not in a rush to win. I know they had that game where you're like diffusing the bomb or something as well. That game also could work. Like a game where you have to talk to the person, where you can't play by doing call outs. Okay, now I got to convert Cosmo's donation because I'm not sure how much that is. Let's see, what was that? Oh, it's like a little over $5. Thank you. I'll just round it up to 6. Keith, welcome. Oh, hey, Keith, I missed your message. I see you say 안녕. You said 안녕하세요 as well. 안녕하세요 to you too. Who else is here? Claire Wilson, welcome. Helen. Gumariki. Yeah, Gumariki is kind of fun. That's the game where you're trying to say a word that starts with the same syllable as the last syllable in the other person's word that they said. So if someone's, and then there's some rules to it, and I have a video about it if you want to search like the specific rules for how to play. That is not for speaking practice. That is just for fun. I wouldn't even say you're going to learn much Korean doing that at all. It's just for fun, like a way to kind of practice thinking of some words that you already know, but I can't see it leading to Korean improvement, not for reading, writing, listening, or speaking. So, but yeah, it's fun. I mean, play it as like, if you want to use your Korean with someone else, you can play that game. And then the practice you get from the game will be before and after when you're talking with each other. Any tips on getting better at reading Korean? If you are in the very beginner level and you're wondering how can you get better at reading Korean, don't worry about that at that point. Your reading is going to naturally get better on its own without reading a single word, just by learning more of the language, by learning how to speak it and listen to it. That alone is going to make a huge difference for your reading speed when you're talking about the beginner level. Beyond the beginner level, how do you get better at reading? Well, you got to read a lot, of course. But before then, just reading a lot will not help your reading. It will not help your speed at reading because you don't know what you're reading. You can't understand anything. But yeah, I'd worry about that after you get the basics down. And then how do you get better at reading? Lots and lots of reading. And it doesn't have to be reading books necessarily. It's any sort of reading. This can also just be chatting online with friends, like in text messages. That also counts. What are we learning today? It's in the title. Do you have a favorite brand of bottled water? In Korea, yes, samdasu. Samdasu would be my favorite in Korea. Outside of Korea, I'm partial to Fiji. I like Fiji water. I'm sorry to all the Fiji people for stealing your water, but it's delicious. But yeah, in Korea, I would say samdasu is my favorite. That's the Jeju water. And it's really common in Korea. I think a lot of Koreans would pick it as their favorite. It's like default, it's really mainstream and everything. But having tried all of the different water brands in Korea, in fact, I made a video where I blind taste tested all of the brands of bottled water in Korea with my son. And we both came to the conclusion, well, his was ranked slightly different than mine, but we both had similar results for a lot of them. And samdasu scored very high for both of us. For me, it was my number one. Blind taste tested. Water. But if you've been to Korea before and you've tried the other waters, I think it would still be interesting to see where do we rank different types of water. Things like the water you're going to get from like a public park, the water you're going to get in your tap in your apartment. Like we also ranked that sort of thing. So if you want to know what type of water tastes good when you go to Korea, check it out. Though most of it is water, there were a few that were like, ew. When you compare them, like when you close your eyes and drink them when they're not chilled, when they're just all like room temperature, there were some where you're like, ew, that's not good. I can't believe I'm drinking that. Keith says, several quiz apps have multiple choice questions and reading the question in time has dramatically increased my reading speed. Yeah, reading is always one of the things where I say, if someone says, how do I get faster at reading? Not better at reading, but faster at reading. My answer is always the same. Like, don't worry about it. You'll get faster naturally. And for anyone just coming in, we're going to get started with the actual lesson in about 12 minutes. Arrowhead is the worst water in the US. Oh, I will disagree. I'm not a big fan of Arrowhead either, but I would say that's not the worst brand. I think the worst kind of water, you said worst water. You didn't just say worst brand, but worst water. I think the worst tasting water is soft water. Anyone who has soft water, I don't, but I did for a point in time when I was younger, when I lived at my mom's house. And soft water is just gross. You have to refrigerate it. And then the worst thing is when you take a shower, it feels like the water is sticking to you more than the soap. It's just, I hate it. And the other thing is it's not really that great for your pipes either. Like your pipes don't really care. So like, I mean, obviously really hard water, sure, that's not good for your pipes. But yeah, it's not great. When your brain is hardwired to English sentence structure, is it hard to convert to subject, object, verb? Yes, it'll happen without thinking. When not just me, but everyone who is speaking in Korean, when they're having like making sentences, while you're making those sentences, I guarantee you will not be thinking that sentence in English while you're saying it. You might be thinking what word, I'm trying to think of a specific word. I can't think of the word, but like the sentence will come to you in your head because in order to generate the sentences in the first place, like when you reach, say, the early intermediate level, your brain has to already be doing that. So it doesn't mean you're going to be switching and speaking fluently in Korean when you're intermediate, but it means that in order to make basic sentences, your brain has to think in that way in the first place. So yes, you will naturally do that. It's not like an amazing thing that happens. It's just a default, like it has to happen. It would be impossible to make sentences in Korean longer than like 3 words, subject, object, verb, that made any sense if you were translating each word one at a time in your head. It will not work. So yes, it's something that will happen whether you want to or not. You shouldn't drink it because of the chemicals or salt. Something like that. Yeah, but you drink it. I bet Keith. Yes. Yeah, Keith. Oh God. Yeah. Okay, you win, Keith. Though I'm sure no one knows it. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about. I've never heard of that. It must not be an issue. Let's see. What other waters are good? Costco's water is decent. If you're drinking like room temperature water, then it starts to make a pretty big difference. Then it's like, okay, you don't want to do this. Oh, Dasani is one I don't really like too much either. Dasani is it's filtered water anyway. I think if I'm going to pick a water that tastes really good, it's going to always be the natural spring water, because the filtered tap water, like Dasani and all that's just regular filtered water. I don't know. They just don't taste that great. Oh, one that I dislike though. I don't like Evian. It just tastes so boring. I know some people like that, but to me, it's like drinking distilled water almost. It's like one step above distilled. I don't get the point. Like, I don't know. Welcome, Lexica. 안녕하세요, 빌리 선생님. 안녕하세요, Lexica님. How do you even recognize different waters? Evavu Kisuvisi says, yeah, it's a funny thing to think about, but you will. If you close your eyes and you take a sip of one water and then you compare it with another water, you can tell, oh, this one's a little better. And if you do that a bunch of times, you can rank which water tastes the best. And that's what I did. And Samdasu wins. Fiji's delicious, but so expensive. Yeah, I actually once asked my mom, she asked me what I wanted for my birthday present. This was, I don't know, probably like 10 years ago or something. I don't know. And just jokingly, I'm like, I don't know. I don't need anything. You get me some Fiji water. Because I liked Fiji. And she bought me this case of Fiji water. I think she probably spent like $30 on this case of like just 12 bottles. And this was like 10 years ago. It's just ridiculous. They're like, small bottles. Yeah. 싱겁다. It's 맛이 안 나요. 맛이 안 나요. It just doesn't have a flavor. It doesn't taste. Not that it's bad. It just doesn't taste. It has it has some flavor. It's just not very pleasant, I think. I feel like Evian is like, I don't know. Maybe it's because you have to be rich to enjoy it. If I were like a millionaire or a billionaire, maybe I would like Evian. As a nice break from all of my expensive champagne and caviar I'm having all day. That when I have water, I just want it to be as distilled as possible without causing me dehydration. If I only drink, or causing me, what's the word? Like having vitamin deficiency if I only drink distilled water for my entire life. I don't know. I don't get the point of it. Fiji tastes super pure. Yeah, I think Fiji is like, when I have Fiji, it's kind of like, I feel like I'm transported into a hidden Chinese monk society. And I've just stepped foot underneath their sacred waterfall, which flows from a glacier and is filtered through these meshes. They have like a secret society that maintains these filter meshes with rocks and rare endangered species that clean the water, and it pours directly over the marble waterfall and then into my mouth. Meanwhile, the monks are like humming this chant to keep the water pure. That's why that's what I feel like. This is what I imagine it's like when I drink that water. No, it's not. This is not sponsored. Some bottled water tastes like it has Alka-Seltzer in it, like Perrier. Yeah, but I mean, Perrier is, you're talking about the carbonated Perrier. I like Perrier too. It's just, it's expensive. I'm not going to have that all the time. Also, the thing with a lot of carbonated water is if you look at the ingredients, a lot of them actually have 2% sodium. Now, not all of them do. Some of them do. I'd say most of them have like 2% sodium in it, which is fine. It doesn't taste salty or anything, but it means that it's not really hydrating you as well as it could because that salt is pulling it back out. It's better to have, if you're going to have carbonated water, not as a treat, but like as a regular beverage instead of water, then you don't want that salt in there. So, yeah. I only drink smart water when I'm studying Korean. Smart water? It's drinkable. Oh, it was actually pretty good. I will give them a shout out because they sent me a free bottle of this. It was the water BLK. Has anyone seen it? It's like totally, like, it doesn't do anything. It's just, it looks like it's black colored. And that's the whole thing. That's it. It's not special. It's literally just water. They advertise it as like, oh, it's got these stuff in it that's extra healthy for you and the pH alkaline and balance. It's just water that I think they add in some, it's not carbon, but it's there's some type of chemical or whatever or not chemical, alkaline or something that makes it a different color. I don't know. It's literally just water, but I think it tastes pretty good. I had it and I'm like, oh, it actually, regardless of the color, it tastes good. The thing is, these also normally cost a lot. I got it for free because they had like a promotion where they sent out like a case if you just put your address into the form when they first launched. But I thought that was pretty good too. I'd have it again. It's got electrolytes. Yes, it's what the plants crave. 상상력이 대박이네요. Thanks. How to remember vocab structure. Okay, an actual Korean question. We'll do that before we get started with the class. So vocabulary, Joseph, you do not need to stress about the vocabulary. Good news. Write it down though. So anytime you see a new vocabulary word in that course, write it down and you're good. Don't stress about memorizing it. Grammar too. Write notes. Write it down. What is the grammar form you learn? Write the notes. Don't stress about it. The important thing is that after the lesson's over, practice it a little bit. But don't force yourself to memorize all these words before you move on, because you can do that. Spend a week and memorize all the vocabulary and all the grammar and everything. But by the time you finished 3 more lessons, you'll have forgotten that anyway, because you're not speaking Korean on a regular basis enough to maintain that long term. So don't stress about it. Take notes, practice with it after the lesson and then move on. I would say, for the first 30, 40 lessons, you can easily just do safely. You can easily do 1 lesson a day. For the first 10 lessons, you can do those all in 1 day. But beyond lesson 50, you really want to space them out. Give yourself a day or 2 to kind of absorb it. But that's it. Yeah, I would not stress about memorizing all that stuff. I'm from Brazil and drank Fiji when I was studying abroad. It's safe to say my life changed. Yes. Yeah, my favorite though is definitely still, of all the brands in the world, my favorite is Samdasu. So I drink it exclusively when I'm in Korea. And it's affordable. It's my favorite and it's not that expensive. If it were really expensive, I wouldn't drink it. But it's cheap. I mean, it's more than the other brands, but it's not double. It'll be maybe the cheapest bottle in the entire store will be 500won for a small thing. And then the smallest bottle of samdasu will be 800won or something like that. And that's for the smallest size. When you talk about the larger sizes, you get regular brand, it'll be 1,000won, and samdasu will be something like 1,200 or 1,300. It's not a big difference. I think it's worth it. Okay. Before we start the lesson today, you want to know how to use 고싶다. I know I wrote this in my magical transparent pen, which lets you see through the board. Ignore that. But you want to know how to say I want to do something. 가다, to go. 가고 싶어요, I want to go. 하고 싶어요, I want to do something. 공부하고 싶어요, I want to study. 먹고 싶어요, I want to eat something. You want to know how to use this first before we do the form we're going to be doing today. Because this is the basic one. The one we're doing today is the slightly more advanced, although still beginner, but more advanced version, which has more uses to it. So if you've never seen that form before, this lesson's not going to be for you. I mean, you can still watch. You can still take notes and stuff. Okay. Make sure here. Got some barley tea in there. What's Pocari? Sweat. Yes, Pocari. Pocari Sweat is the that the sports drink. It's kind of like a Gatorade. Yeah. it's just like a Gatorade sports drink. It's okay. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't get it, but it's okay. Whoa, glass artist! 선생님, 새해 복 많이 받으세요. Visiting the Pacific Northwest, watching the storms, getting time to get back into regular Korean studies, including today's lesson. I'm enjoying your new podcast. Thank you. 감사합니다. Wow, awesome. Nice. Glass Artist is, so far this year, our largest donation. Our biggest sponsor for the year 2026. See, all of these today, you get to be the first. Everyone here gets to be the firsts and the biggest. So Mikey was our very first. It's Kai is our smallest. That's still something. That's still something to be proud of. And Glass Artist is the biggest. And Cosma is the middleest. Yeah. Thank you, all of you. Pocari Sweat tasted like sweat. Gotta start wearing Glass Artist merch. Someday. Glass Artist will make me a glass keycat. And I'll be like, oh, this is so cool. It's amazing. How'd you make it? And I'll drop it. And it'll just, it's not gonna like crack. It's just gonna explode like all over the floor, like literally everywhere. You're gonna find pieces of like Kiket's ear in your like coffee pot 2 months later. Like the Kiket's scarf, you're gonna like step on it and have to go to the hospital. It's gonna explode everywhere. And I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Can't believe that happened. Don't make me a glass keycat. But yeah. Thank you. Okay. So let's get started with our lesson. So much like the Rupert's drop. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, kind of like that. It just explodes. It just incinerates everywhere. Okay, the form we're going to be learning today is useful for saying that you want to do something. And the way to make it is you just take an action verb, so anything that you want to do, right? You take its stem, so that's just chopping off the ta at the end of it. Like hada, the stem is just ha. That's it. Then if that stem adds, why am I saying adds? Then if that stem ends with a consonant, you're going to attach If the stem ends with a vowel, or if it ends with the letter lir, you're going to attach another lir, followed by they. And then if you're speaking politely, most of the time you will be, attach yo. So, hada, really quick. Ha ends in a vowel. 할래요. 먹다, to eat, ends with a consonant. 먹을래요. 먹을래요. That's all there is to it. Now, some common verb exceptions will still apply. There are some verb types that have their own exceptions. Those still apply. Like, for example, 눕다, to lie down. Well, this is one of those verbs that has an exception. Normally when conjugating, you remove the piup, you add an u, so you get nu, u, and then it ends in a vowel, so you add this, nuuleo, like that. I'm not going to be going over all of those exceptions, but it's the same as normal when you conjugate other forms as well. Okay, I'll leave this up for just a moment. The smallest sponsor of 2026. Yes. Zombie asks, are your audio levels the same as normal? I don't know. Are you talking about for the live stream? Is it good or bad? I guess that's what I should ask. I can move the microphone if it's quiet. They make it a little closer to me. Why don't we just grunt all the time instead of using words? I'm not sure what you mean. Okay, Keith, just because you had to. It's actually 먹고 갈래. 먹고 가다. So it's not just do you want to eat ramen, although you could say that, but typically you're saying 먹고 가다 is to eat and then go. So it's in reference to like, hey, before you go, want to have some ramen is what it means, which is the Korean version of Netflix and chill. You want to have some ramen before you go? Like kind of like, hey, you want to come up for a cup of coffee? It's like, 10 at night or something. Let's get some coffee. Yeah. Who drinks coffee at 10 o'clock at night? Like George from Seinfeld. Yeah. Okay. Now, I should note real quick, this is not the same as the quoting form. There is another quoting form. There is another form like ureo attached onto a verb stem or ireo attached after a noun. These are parts of quoting forms, and it is not related to the form that we're doing for today. This one is I said or someone said to do something, and this one, someone says that something is. It's from the verb ida. So these look similar, but they don't have that extra lir at the bottom of these, so it's different. Shin is best ramen. Nice. Yeah, Shin ramen's pretty good. Okay. So, this form is only used in two types of sentences. It's used in statements and it's used in questions. Statements are just anything that you state, anything that you say, like, I want to go, I don't want to go. That's a statement. That person doesn't want to go, like that. However, or a question. Do you want to go? That's it. Statements or questions. There's some things, though, that you need to know about this. When you're using this for questions, though, so you're asking someone else, do you want to do something? Like, 가다, to go, 갈래요? 먹다, to eat, 먹을래요? 할래요? Do you want to do something? It's going to be more polite to ask these with honorifics instead of just making the regular verb. So instead of just using 하다, it's going to be better and more natural when you're using this form to ask a question to someone if you use 하시다, the honorific form of 하다. So for most verbs, that'll just be attaching 으시다 to the end, like normal. Some verbs, though, will have other honorific versions of themselves. If you've learned about honorifics, you probably already know things like 드시다 for to eat or to drink, 주무시다 to sleep, those sorts of things. So instead of 할래요, it's better to ask 하실래요? Do you want to? Would you like to? There's a reason for this. This form has a slightly casual feeling to it. By default, this form, leu, whether you're using it for statements or a question, has a little bit of a casual feel. Now, it's not casual. And I mean, you can see it's not casual. It has a yo at the end here. But it has definitely an informal feel, like a spoken only conversational feel to it. So what that means is you're not going to be using this form in writing. Don't write this form on your essay to say you want to do something or you would like to do something or ask if the listener wants to. Don't use it. It's not a polite form for writing. It's only used in casual speech or casual writing or informal speech. And specifically, it just has a dialogue feel. So if you use it, it sounds like you're saying something, not that you're writing something. So because of that, if you ask someone a question, like if you're going to say, do you want to do something? Instead of saying like, 할래요, you should use the 으시다 form or make it into an honorific. So you could ask, 하실래요? So use honorifics when you're asking someone else a question if they would like to do something, because remember, by default, this form has a bit of a casual feel. And what if then if you want to use this, so then what if you want to use this form? Actually, let's say this a different way, because you wouldn't be using this form. So then what if you want to ask someone if they want to do something, but you want it to sound more formal, more polite? Well, you wouldn't use this form at all. Now, there are other forms you can use, but for a really quick example, you can use the ushigesoyo form for asking someone a question. If they want to do something, you actually wouldn't ask them, like, do you want to do something? Because that can be a bit direct in formal speech. Like, you wouldn't ask your boss, so what it is you want to do is this? It kind of sounds like that if you were to say it literally. So instead, what's more common is you would just ask, will you be or would you be doing something? And you do that with the future tense, kessoyo, with honorifics. So kada, kashigesoyo, mokta. Remember, it has a honorific version. So tushida, tushigesoyo, like that. Hoshigesoyo, would you take a look at it? Are you going to do this? Are you going to go? Would you like to drink more? Like that. So this is one option you can use that's more formal sounding. But again, the reo form by itself is just always going to have a conversational, a dialogue feel. Let me check the chat really quick. I don't want to miss anything. Oh, it's Kai is asking, is it more or less common than koshipta? We'll get to that. Don't worry. It's actually very common as well. Sue, the quotation, the ireo form, I actually did a live stream about that. February 12th, 2023. I taught all about those quoting forms. So both ureo and ireo. So check that out. February 12th, 2023. If you search that on my channel, you can find the live stream. Oh, Lexica. Thank you, Lexica. It's the perfect time for a donation because I was just going to start the next section. Belated minute 7. It's okay. Got distracted while rearranging furniture. Welcome. Okay. Yes, I see a couple people gave some practice sentences. Don't worry, we'll talk about exactly how it's different from the regular koshipta form in a second. So I'll get to you. So we know this form then means you want to do something or you're asking someone if they want to do something, but we haven't talked about it, why you might want to use that. How is this form then different than just using the koshipta form? Like, kada, kago shippoyo? Or 갈래요? Let's make it simpler. What if we were just comparing the casual versions? 갈래? 가고 싶어? Or 갈래. 가고 싶어. Yeah, I want to go. I want to go. So what's the difference? They both mean want to or can be used for asking want to. Besides the difference of speaking informally, right, that I said this one has, this one doesn't have that. The difference is actually that this form, this reo, has a different nuance completely. 고고 싶다 literally just means someone has the desire to do something. That's it. So they may or may not actually have the means to do it, or maybe they're not going to do it. They just have the desire. That's all it says. Man, I sure wish. That's it. That's all koshipta means. However, and we'll come back to this, this reo form that we're learning today has a different meaning. It actually means not that you want to do something, but it means that you are going to do something. It literally means that you intend to do something. So if you say, 갈래, I want to go, as I said, you're actually not really saying that's what I want. You're not saying I desire to go. I really wish I could go. You're saying like, hey, I'm going. I'm going to go. It's basically, it's a future tense form, right? It's saying that you intend to do. In English, we have a word for intention, will. Your will to go. So, 갈래요, I will go, quite literally. But although it has the literal meaning of an intention, it has a hidden feeling in there that you want to do it also. So it doesn't literally mean you want to, but that meaning is hidden in there, inside of the meaning of saying, hey, this is what I intend to do. By that, you're saying, I kind of want to. Like, it's a combination of the feeling of I'm going to, plus, yeah, that's what I want. So, for those of you who are already past the beginner level, I'm going to give you a similar form if you're already past the beginner level. If you've seen the form 으려고 하다 before, this form means intending to do something. That's it. It doesn't mean that you want to do something. It doesn't have that nuance, but it means that you're intending to. Like, that's what I'm going to do. Like, I'm gonna, right? This 으려고 하다 form normally is the form you would say for I'm gonna do something. I'm intending to do something. This 레요 form is originally partially from this form. So you can think of it as kind of a combination of 으려고 하다, you're going to do something, and a little bit of that, yeah, I want to, or asking someone else, is this what you intend to do? And you really want to do that? Kind of like that. So again, this one is only desire. I want to. That is what I want to do. But it doesn't mean you're going to. So you can say something like, 가고 싶어요? Do you want to go? 가다? And literally you're just saying, would you like to go? It doesn't mean you have tickets, you're coming with us or anything. It's just, how about you? What do you think? Do you want to go? The person could say, yes, I want to go. 가고 싶은데 or 가고 싶지만 돈이 없어요. Yeah, I want to go, but I don't have any money. 가고 싶어요. 정말 가고 싶은데. 가고 싶은데. Yeah, I want to go, but they're not going, right? They don't have any money. They can't go, but they can still say, 가고 싶어. 진짜 가고 싶어. 어쩌지? You cannot do that with this form. 갈래. 진짜 갈래. You can't do that because that would mean you're going to go. You intend to go. So the difference between these is not the English translation. They're both kind of like wanna or want to, but the meaning is, this one is you actually are going to do it. So if you were to say, like, to ask your friend, 같이 갈래요? Do you want to go? 같이, together? 같이 갈래요? Do you want to go together? It's not just like, well, would you like to go together, regardless of your ability to or not? But it's like, hey, you coming with us? Like, are you going to go together with us? Do you want that? Kind of like that. So it might help to think of this form not as meaning want, to kind of help separate it in your mind. Think of it more as meaning like going to do, like gonna. Gonna, I think, is a pretty decent translation for it. But the feeling is kind of like wanna. So I think gonna. So if I say, 갈래, that's not just, hey, I wish I could go, but it's like, yeah, I'm going too. Oh yeah, I want to do that. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm intending to go, is what you're saying. So that's the main difference. It's not just saying want to or I want to, but it's like, yes, I am going to do that. That is what I want. So like, yes, I want to do that and I'm going to do it like that. There's one more thing we still have to talk about, but I'll leave this up for just a minute to let it absorb a bit. See if there are any questions in the chat before I go on. Natalie says, can you use this form in writing if you're quoting something? So if you are literally writing down what someone said and you put quotes in it, you can do whatever you want. You can just like, like scribble all over the page, right? There's no restrictions for what you can put within quotes. It's just stating that's what the person said. So if you were to say like 뭐뭐 갈래라고 했어요, sure, but typically you don't quote like that. That would be kind of like a comic quote, like a written, like an informal style of quoting something, is just saying that person said, I want to go. Usually quoting in books is done like this. That person expressed that they would like to go. They also said that they would like to go. You don't really quote directly. Like they said, I want to go. That sounds more like you're telling a story, right? Typically, no. You would just say like 가고 싶다고 했어요 or something like that. They said that they would like to go. So yeah, if you're doing like a direct quote, exactly this is what they said, then yes, it's okay. Otherwise, you wouldn't use it. John Z, this isn't about the live lesson today. I actually have a separate live stream about 기도하다. 기도하다 is to decide to do something. Mad Dog, really quick. Gayo is a suggestion. Could, would, like that. Do you think? Like, I think a good way of Gayo is should. Like, as in, like, would it be a good idea to do something? If you're talking about that. Gayo, shall we go? What do you think if we went? Like that sort of meaning. Now, translating, you can translate these in different ways, but literally the Gayo form is more of a suggestion. Like, what do you think? Huh? And yeah, I have a whole separate live stream about that. Yeah, let's think about is good. Or what do you think about that? Like that, if you're asking it as a question. Horu also asks, where do you place your tongue when you pronounce diga, like saying ida, da, da? So it's directly behind your teeth, not the roof of your mouth and not the tip of your top teeth. I'll erase this and I'll tell you. So make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. So if this is your mouth, there's your teeth, and there's your tongue. Your tongue is going to touch right here. Da, 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 da. So it's not up here. It's not here. Like your tongue can touch here a little bit or here a little bit, but basically there's the target. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. And it can actually... Ta, ta, ta. Yeah, no, sorry. It's kind of up here, but you're not on the top of your mouth. Let me just redraw this. You're not down here. Kind of here is where you want to be. You can make it from here to here, anywhere along there. It'll depend on your style, but it's kind of here. Da, 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 da. Which is different than the D in English, because the D in English is right here, right? This is D in English. If you say dog, dog, where's your tongue? Your tongue is not here, right? Your tongue doesn't even touch your teeth. Da, da, if you say the D sound in English. But in Korean, ta, 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 it's more up here on your tooth, which is why I absolutely abhor romanization, because it affects you. It makes you say sounds the wrong way. And then when someone else says it, you're going to mishear it. Yeah. So it's kind of like here. It's not the same as L in English, but I get where you're coming from. L in English is, you can see the bottom of the tongue sticking out from below the top teeth when you say la, right? La. There is no sound in Korean that does that. It's the similar position, but if you push your tongue up so it's hiding behind your teeth, then you can get the la sound, but that's still not L. That's still not the lir in Korean. The lir in Korean is actually here. I know this is way off topic. This is the lir. It comes from this spot. Believe it or not. That's why so many people say it wrong. People say it from here. They say it thinking it's like the L sound in English. It's never L. It's never R. But I get why you would think that, because you're not used to hearing this. This makes no sense, right? The D in English is where the L in Korean comes from. But if you do that, it'll sound more accurate. That's what every Korean is doing. No Korean does it from here. It's always from here. I'm trying to say, can I even say la, le? No, it sounds like I'm intentionally trying to say a foreign word if I say it like that. Edam, ramen. No, it's always going to be the top. Because if you try to say it the other way, it sounds like I'm trying to force out a foreign word in Korean. Latte. Yeah, it doesn't work. You can't do it with that spot behind the tooth. Just sounds wrong. Okay. There's one more thing we haven't talked about. So this form I said is like your intention, or you're asking someone their intentions, right? I intend to go. 나는 갈래. Right? Okay. 갈래? 너는 갈래? Do you want to go? Okay, we're good with that, right? Because literally you're saying, I intend to go. Do you intend to go? We're good. Totally fine. The problem is when you do this. That person intends to go. In Korean, this is a cultural thing. This is a cultural difference. You cannot assume what someone else wants to do or what they're thinking, like what do they desire. And this is included in that. You can't assume that a third party is trying to do something, is intending to do something, unless they're saying it directly to you, like that's what they're intending to do. You could say, oh, I heard that that person is intending to do that. That's fine. 철수도 가려고 하는 것 같아. Like, I think they're trying to go. You can express a thought, like, I think that's what they were trying to do. I heard that that's what they're trying to do. They said, you cannot directly say what someone else is intending to do in Korean. So this form cannot be used in the third person to say like he or she or they. It's only used to say, I'm intending to do this. I want to do this. Or to ask someone else, do you want to do this? Are you intending to do this? So you cannot use it for third person sentences. Keep that in mind. Besides that, I think we're ready for some example sentences. Oh, and someone else asked before, is this more common or less common than 고 싶다? It's not really that sort of an issue because, again, the meaning, I mean, maybe you already got the question answered, but the meaning is slightly different. So is it more commonly used? I mean, if you want to say, I'd say it's probably less commonly used because you're not going to be speaking it depends on the person. You might not be speaking casually as much as you would be speaking more politely if you want to express what you want to do, but it depends what you want to say. Like if you're trying to say, oh man, I miss you, right? Literally in Korean, they say 보고 싶다, to want to see. You're actually saying, oh man, I really would like to see you again. It's not 볼래요. It's not like, hey, I really am going to go see you right now. I'm running over there. Like, one of those TwitchCon situations. It's more of like, I would like to see you. That would be great if I can see you. Not that, hey, right now I'm going to go see you. So if you want to express your desires, your simple desire, use 보고 싶다. If you're expressing like not just it's my desire, but it's what I'm going to do right now, then use 레요. Hopefully that helps a little bit. But it's not really so much of a which one should I use situation. They have different uses. Oh yeah, I can't use my green color. 나 간다. Yeah, Keith. So I know you're joking, kind of, but Keith, for that sentence, the plain form, when you use it in speech, has the feeling of an announcement. So imagine that you pick up a megaphone and you say whatever it is that you're saying whenever you use the plain form. That's the feeling you give. So it does mean I'm going to do this. Like, hey, I'm going, but it has the feeling of I'm going, like that. You're announcing it to anyone who can hear. Although only for casual speech in that case. 그 사람 가고 싶어 하는 것 같아요. You can use that. Yeah. I think what they want to do is I think that they want to go. But the leo form itself actually has no way of being used in the third person. Just keep that in mind. It's not like if you use it in third person, you're wrong. There is no way to use it in the third position, because in Korean, it logically doesn't make sense to say they intend to do something. It just sounds wrong in Korean because of how the grammar works. Because I said it comes from 요구하다 originally. If we want to get like really technical, you can think of it as like 요구해. 난 가려고 해. 난 갈래. It's not the exact origin. It comes from a different form originally, but it kind of like that. Okay. 너무 피곤해서 나 집 갈래. Sure. I'm so tired. I'm going home. It's like, I want to go home, but I'm also letting you know that is what I'm going to do. Okay. 오늘은, so for today, 그냥 just 걸어가다, to walk and go somewhere, to walk somewhere. 오늘은 그냥 걸어갈래요. I'm just going to walk today. I just want to walk today. And I'm going to just walk today, is what it means. It's not, man, I sure wish I could walk today because I had an injury and I, hurt my foot and I can't walk. It's not 걸어가고 싶어요. It's not like, hey, I would like to walk if that's okay with you. It's just saying, 오늘은 그냥 걸어갈래요. Today, don't worry about me. I'm just going to walk. Like that. Again, the intention as well as the desire are together in this form. 오늘은 그냥 걸어갈래요. Today, I just want to walk there. And that's what I'm going to do. Mess that up. Oh man, so I started researching for the next K-pop group series already, just from last week. And I've got so many clips already of Stray Kids. And I've already found like so many funny things to talk about that I haven't seen posted online. So I'm kind of already excited about it. Yeah, because I researched a bunch. I tried to find what already is out there to save some time. But then while doing my own research, I quickly found a bunch of interesting things. I'm like, oh, I don't think anyone's pointed this out before. So yeah, look forward to that. That'll be sometime, maybe the end of February if I'm fast. But it's gonna be like 2 months really to go through all these clips. Okay. 나는, so me, I, pasta, 안 먹다, to not eat. 안 먹을래요. 나는 파스타 안 먹을래요. So I don't want to eat pasta. But in there, the nuance is I'm not eating pasta. So it's like, I'm not going to eat pasta. I also don't want to eat it, is kind of what you're saying. 나는 파스타 안 먹을래요. I don't want to eat pasta, and I'm not going to eat it either. Okay. I have a bunch more sentences. I'll just give you like 10 seconds to write that down. See if I missed any other questions. I don't think I did. 한국어 능력 시험을 볼래요. So you want to take the Korean, the topic basically in April. Nice. Might Dread says, I replied to your post, but it got deleted. Yeah, it did get deleted. I'm not sure why though, because the reason that the moderator, the auto moderator posted didn't have my post in it. I don't know. I guess they just didn't like it. But anyway, I did get some help from that. So I think it's okay anyway that it got deleted. I'm not sad, but I did get some good tips from that. But I also got a lot of good tips just from reading their general Wikipedia pages. Kind of gave me some good information as well for them, which is kind of surprising. Like, oh, I didn't think I'd get information from a Wikipedia page. But yeah, it kind of told me a lot of stuff. And generally, like people's feelings about the members too. Like some people said, oh, this member's a little bit difficult to understand, but I don't know why. And then when I was listening to them in the first clip I listened to them, I'm like, oh, I see exactly why. I can make a whole video about this. Yeah. So 안 먹고 싶다. Yeah. 난 안 먹고 싶은데. Like I would rather not eat it is basically what you're saying. 난 안 먹고 싶어. Like I don't feel like eating that. You can also say it like that. But it's not necessarily like if you eat that, I'm having none of it. Isn't what 안 먹고 싶다 means. It's like I would prefer that. My desire is to not eat that, is what you're saying. You still might eat it if they order it. But what if you're like, you're at your friend's house and they say, oh, I'm going to order a pizza. 아, 나 피자 안 먹고 싶어. Like, I'd rather not eat pizza. But if you say, 나 피자 안 먹을래, that's saying that even if you order pizza, I'm not going to eat it. Whereas 안 먹고 싶어 is like, that's not what I want. But if you order pizza, I might have a piece or I might not. But it's regardless of that, I'm just expressing my desire not to eat it. So the nuance is different. But again, keep in mind that this form, again, is only for informal speech. And even in informal speech, when you use it with you, it still has that casual kind of feeling. So I think a lot of times that should help you alone tell you if you should use the form or not. Is it okay for me to be speaking casually with this person, or like friendly with this person, I guess? Here's another short sentence. 김치, 더, more, 드시다 is the honorific version of 먹다. Remember, you want to use honorific verbs whenever you're asking someone else a question if you want it to sound at least more polite. So if you're using honorifics in a question with this form, it doesn't make it sound casual anymore. It has the feeling of like friendly, but still polite. Just know that it's not formal. 김치 더 드실래요? So would you like to have some more kimchi? Like, hey, you want to have some more kimchi? Like that. Would you like to have some more? More? You want some more? Okay. 다른, a different, from the verb 다르다, to be different. 셔츠, a shirt. So a different shirt, another shirt. 입다, to wear. 다른 셔츠 입을래요. Like, I got this one all dirty. I'm going to go wear another shirt. 다른 셔츠 입을래요. So it's not just like, man, I wish I could. It's not like saying, I wish I could wear another shirt. This one's ruined. Darn it. But you're saying, I'm going to go wear another shirt. I'm putting another shirt on. Is what you're saying, with the nuance of it's also what I want to do. 다른 셔츠 입을래요. Maybe it's just a Hawaiian shirt. You're like, I'm going to wear another shirt. 다른 셔츠 입을래요. Like that. I want to see if there's a sentence here I can give you. Okay, I want you to make the next sentence. I'll do it later. But you're using this form. So you're going to be saying, it's like saying, I'm going to do it later. I want to do it later, okay? I'm not going to do it right now. I'll do it later, is what you're saying. I want you to make that sentence before I write it up. Yes, Kitty Mommy, one person got it. One person has seen that movie. You want some more? First, the Seinfeld reference. Oh, I got plenty more Seinfeld references. Okay. Yes. Keith. Perfect. Sue, amazing. Perfect. Lexica. Message retracted. I can't see what you wrote, but it probably was good. 나중에 할래요. Nice. 식사 안 먹을래요. I don't want to eat breakfast, okay? 쇼핑 좀 하고 싶어요. So, 백화점 문이 닫혔어요. But that's not the other form. That's the other form. Like, I want to do shopping. Typically, though, when you say you want to do shopping, you actually mean you want to go shopping. So they actually do shopping 가다, to go shopping. Shopping 하다 is like you're already there. I want to do some shopping. But usually when you say shopping, you're not at the place where you're shopping. So use 가다. 나중에 할래요. Nice, Aggie. 저 이따 할래요. Nice, Angel Harmony. Emily VBR as well. Very good. Everyone has good sentences here. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. How come I'm coughing more after drinking the tea? That doesn't make any sense. 이따가 할래요. 이따가 or 이따 means a little bit later. So as in today, just not right now. 할래요. So I want to do it. I'm going to do it a little later. 이따가 할래요. Now, you could also say 나중에 할래요. 나중에 just means later, but not today. So both are fine. 이따가 할래요. I want to do it a little later. Or you could add 좀 이따가. But then when you actually add 좀 이따가, you're doing the Keith, look on my channel for a video in the Korean FAQ series about 이따가, and you'll see it's a mess. But technically 좀 이따가 is wrong, but they use it because it's like it has a double meaning already. Like 이따가 by itself already means a little bit later, but if you add 좀, which means a little bit, it's like saying a little bit later. So you're supposed to use a different form in that case, but no one does. If you're interested in like wasting 8 minutes of your life finding out what the difference is between 이따가 and 좀 이따가 is, then watch that video in my Korean FAQ series. Oh, I see I have a donation. Sigominko. It's time for, it's the time. What's the word for time? For the, and now I'm realizing I know 0 Italian words. The class de italiano. Prego. Before all the Italian mothers kill me, I'll stop. Okay. You have to teach me some Italian so I can stop making myself look like a fool. I'm a Polish heritage. I think I am too. I think that's my my mom's side is Russian Polish. I can't remember what city. Cuz I'm kind of a mix of a bunch of stuff. I think it was Polish. Cuz I know they left before World War II and went to New York. I think it was Polish. Was the place they lived, although like ethnicity was Russian. I don't know. Anyway, Polish. I know even less. All I remember from Italian class is basta. What is basta? Okay. I want you to make this next sentence too. So, the verb 쉬다 is to relax, to rest, to relax, to take a break. 쉬다. So I want you to make the sentence, today, I want to take a break today. I want to relax today. How would you make that sentence? Now, note that 쉬다 is the verb. This is different. Do not use, I repeat, do not use 쉬하다. This means to go to the bathroom. It's like a kid's word. Take a piss. So some beginners. 나 좀 쉬할래. Yeah. Yeah. So just be careful about that. Remember, just if it helps you, just don't use this one. Really common beginner mistake. I wouldn't even correct you if you made it. I would just start laughing. Yes. Perfect. Lexica. Perfect. A few other people as well. I'm checking. I see. Oh, Noah Deeps. Noah Deeps. This is one of the verbs that does not have the actually it doesn't have a p up at the bottom anyway, so you wouldn't do that where you add the oo. Nice. I'm just reading the other sentences. Keith. Perfect. If you're really relaxed, Claire, if you're really relaxed, it can happen. That's true. 너무 많이 쉬면, 너무 편하게 쉬면, 그러면 쉬할 수 있지. 그치? 나도 모르게 쉬할 수는 있지. 오늘 그냥 쉴래. Nice. Oh, so Vahi Smaili, I don't know how to pronounce your name. You're asking, how can you say that you want to use the bathroom politely? A polite way to say it is to say you're going to go to the restroom. Oops. You can do it a few ways. You can 화장실's restroom. 좀 is like just a softener. It doesn't have any meaning in this case. 다니다 is to go somewhere and come back. So you can say 화장실 좀 다녀올게. 다녀오다, to go somewhere and then come back again. Or you can say 가다, like to go to the bathroom, like 갔다 오다. The verb 갔다 오다 is to go someplace, and then after you finish stuff you're doing there, come back. It implies that there's something happening at that location, which is you going to the restroom. 화장실 좀 갔다 올게. 화장실 좀 다녀올게. 다녀올게요. Although if you're being polite, you wouldn't just say 올게, because that would be casual. 저 화장실 좀 다녀올게요. I'm just going to go to the bathroom for a second, is what you're saying. You can, if you want to be even more polite, let's get like obnoxious levels of polite now. 손 씻다 is just to wash your hands. You can say 손 좀 씻고 올게요. So you can say 씻고 오다, and that can become 올게요, 씻고 올게요, like that. But you can do variations. 손 좀 씻고 올게요. I'm just gonna go wash my hands a bit. Then you're in the bathroom for like 5 hours. Read all of Harry Potter. But if you don't even want to say bathroom, you can just say I'm just gonna go wash my hands. Or if it's hot. Oops, I can fix it. 세수하다. 세수하다 is basically to wash up. It means like to wash your hands and wash your face. Just kind of wash up real quick. Like if you're taking a shower in the sink, that would be called 세수하다. So you can also just use 세수 좀 하고 올게요. Like I'm just going to go wash up a bit. Like if it's a really hot day, I might just say this even if I don't have to use the bathroom. Because, you know, my face is sweating. I want to go to the bathroom. I want to wash my hands because they're sweaty. I want to wash my face a little bit, you know, wipe it off. So I would do that even if I don't go to the bathroom. Totally inconspicuous. No one's going to know that you lost 3 pounds. So I also recommend using that one. Anyway, back to the lesson. There are other ways you can say it, like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom real quick, like my stomach hurts. You can say like 화장실이 급해요, like I really got to go to the bathroom, if you don't want to mince words. 급하다. 화장실이 좀 급해요. Like 급하다, it's urgent. The bathroom is urgent, is what you're saying. Like, oh, I got to go right now. That's if you like, you can't wait. So, oops. Yeah, I can fix it. Now I'll rewrite it. Make it a little nicer. Okay, this is a short sentence. 오늘은, so for today. 쉬다, to rest. 쉴래요. 오늘은 쉴래요. 오늘은 쉴래요. 오늘은 쉴래요. Today I just want to rest. I just want to take a break today. I just want to rest. 오늘은 쉴래요. 소변. So Keith says 소변. So yes, 소변 and 대변 are the other two words. But these ones are a bit descriptive. Like 소 literally means small and 변 means like bowel movement essentially. In this case, 대 is big. So it's like number 1, number 2. Or is it? Yeah, I think like that. Yeah. But these are more like official forms. You're not going to use these regularly. If you wanted to be like explicit in what you're doing, then you could use them, but I don't recommend them. Typically, it's better just to say you're going to the bathroom. Let them use their imagination. And then you can even get more specific and say what it is you're actually going to release. Okay. 하나, literally just one. 하나 가질래요? 가지다 is to have something. 하나 가질래요? Literally, you want to have one? You want to take one? Here. 하나 가질래요? You want to have one? Like that. I have a box of pens. 하나 가질래요? You want to have one? You want to take it? Like that. Not, do you wish, do you desire to have one? But you want to take one? Here, go ahead. Like that sort of meaning. Again, because the leo form shows intention, not just that someone wants to do something. Sorry, my hands were very dirty, yes. And then they're going to be like, oh, but the sink didn't have any soap. 볼일, yes. 볼일. Something, you got to take care of something. 화장실에 가야 돼요. I actually mentioned that. Which lesson do I... One of my podcasts, one of the upcoming podcast episodes, I have 2 ready to go, the next ones. We talk about that, where one of my friends would say, literally, I have to go to the bathroom. 화장실에 가야 해요. I must go to the bathroom. Yeah, don't use that. It kind of sounds like it could be a bit pressure on them hearing that, like, oh, I didn't know I was keeping you from the bathroom. I'm sorry. Like, they might kind of feel bad if you make it a big deal. That's why I recommend something just like, hey, I'll just go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Because then there's no like guilt on them for making you wait. The new season of your favorite TV show came out, and you want to ask a friend, you want to watch it to me? Watch it to me? You want to watch it with me? 같이 together? 볼래요? 보다, to see or watch. 같이 볼래요? You want to watch it together with me? Not just like, would you like to? Would that be your desire? But you're actually just asking them, hey, like, let's watch it together. Let's actually do that. 같이 볼래요? You want to watch it together? Totally gonna watch the new what am I looking forward to? I'm watching the I'll watch JoJo when that comes out, part 7. What else am I looking forward to? I think that's it right now for TV shows. I don't know too much Korean TV shows that are coming out. 같이 볼래요? You want to watch it together? Okay. 같이, together again. 같이, 점심 is lunch. 점심 먹으러 가다, to go to eat, to go eat. 먹으러 갈래요? Do you wanna go eat lunch together? 같이 점심 먹으러 갈래요? Like, hey, you wanna go get lunch together with me right now? 같이 점심 먹으러 갈래요? How about going to get lunch with me? Not like, would you like to do that someday? Is that your desire? But I'm going there. Are you going to come with me? Like that sort of meaning. Like, I am going there right now. Are you coming with me? 같이 점심 먹으러 갈래요? You want to go get lunch together with me? We have one more sentence. I'm just going to check the chat. 화장실에 가야 돼요. I have to go to the bathroom. Yeah, like you can say it. It's just, it's direct. I wouldn't recommend it. Noah Deep says, when will the next podcast? I'm hoping to do every 2 weeks. So we just had another episode of a different video. There should be, until then, there should be one every 2 weeks. Is it back? Is it back? Did it freeze? Okay, where did it freeze? Hopefully I got to explain it. Okay. Yeah, I just saw it cut out for a bit. Someone asked about the podcast, just to answer, every 2 weeks. So the next one's on Thursday, and you can listen to it and watch it early if you're one of my Patreon members. That's all you missed. Okay. No, it was, I think, my internet, because I saw on my side also, or maybe it was YouTube. I don't know. But I did see on my side also that it cut out. Okay. Okay. 저도, me too. I also, 만져볼래요. Want to, 만지다 is to touch, but this is also how you would say to pet an animal. They say touch. I also want to pet 강아지, the dog. 저도 강아지 만져볼래요. 저도 강아지 만져볼래요. 저도 강아지 만져볼래요. I also want to pet the dog. Like that. 저도, me too, 강아지, dog, 만져보다. To try petting, 만져볼래요. I want to pet the dog too. As you're kind of like going to pet the dog. Okay. I'll leave this up for just a few seconds. Okay, yeah, if I was explaining about the podcast, then that's really all you missed, I think. Just saying that the next one's already out. There's a special guest. Many of you know who it is. Every 2 weeks, there will be a podcast, but no episodes will be uploaded. I won't be able to film any episodes anyway when I'm in Korea. So that's when the first season will stop when I'm in Korea, and then we'll continue when I get back. 쓰다듬다. So you're asking about that's kind of like, okay, so 만지다 is used for a lot of different things. It's used for playing with your phone. They say 만지다, to touch. It's used for like petting an animal, 만지다, like that. But if you're talking about the other one, that one's more like this. That's that. It's different meaning. But it also can mean to pet or like to pat. It's not necessarily to pat, but it's kind of like this. Typically like, on someone's head. Yeah, I know touching seems weird. It's just what they use. I know it's weird to use 만지다 for that. But yeah, 만지다 is your I think a better word for just touch with 만지다, because touch, we kind of think of it as like, that's actually not the meaning of touch in Korean. That would be 손대다. 손대다 is to touch something, like to make small contact with something. I actually have a Korean FAQ about different ways to say touch. But 손대다 would be what you would say on like signs at museums. 손대지 마세요. Do not touch. Like to put your finger, to make contact with your finger is that. That would be like the touch meaning. So 만지다 isn't like that. It's more of like the full hand treatment kind of thing. That's why they say like using your phone with it or like petting an animal with it. Like messing with something. Although 건드리다 would be like messing with it. Okay, there's a bunch of words, but check out, I have a Korean FAQ about that for how to say to touch. Lots of different words. And that is our lesson for today. Let me take a screenshot. Let me take a thumbnail real quick, because I always have to. I don't know what I'm pointing at. It's gonna be the form. It's gonna be Leo, something like that. Oh, important announcement. There is no class next Sunday. In fact, there is no live stream next Sunday. We did one last week and we did one this week. And sometimes I'll do extra ones in the middle when we don't have one. Not next Sunday. I'm not going to be here. Actually, I'm going to be out of town next Sunday. Just next Sunday though. And then we'll come back after that for 2 more weeks again. So there's no class next Sunday and no live stream next Sunday either. I'm not going to surprise you with the live stream next Sunday because I won't be here. Just letting you know. Now we can do a Q&A. If you have any questions that you'd like about Korean or Korea, anything you'd like to know, feel free. I'm going to stick around for maybe about 30 minutes, just until 3:30 my time. And yeah, if there's anything you wanted to ask, you didn't have time to ask, now is a good time for that. Is it just me or is there lag? There probably shouldn't be lag now, but I don't know. There was before. I guess it was either my internet or YouTube. I was also thinking about the live streams. So I've done now over 200 of these live classes with outlines and worksheets. But I realized that a lot of the live streams I did, especially like the first couple years, the live streams I would do would be like jam-packed with forms. Like each live stream would have like 5 forms. And I would teach it, I'd give some examples, but it wasn't really a lot of time to go over the details. Like even this form that we did today, Leo, I've taught it before a couple times, but it was always as part of another class. I did a class where I taught 고싶다 and Leo together. But we didn't really go too much in detail for Leo because it was, there's not too much time to do that. So I think what I'd like to do is some of the other live classes where I would teach like 6 forms in one video, kind of breaking it up and maybe doing like 2 or sometimes 1 if it's a big form, and making them their own separate lessons to give them more time. Not for everything I've done, not reteaching everything. I don't think that's necessarily worth it. And a lot of them I already did a decent job explaining it. But for some of the ones that didn't really get very much time, I'd like to redo some of them just so that they can get their own worksheet and own outline and more example sentences. Like this form, when I taught 고싶다, only had 4 sentences, which is, it's enough to learn the form, but it's not really great enough for listening practice. And it wasn't as clear. So anyway, just letting you know, but we have plenty of ideas. Normally every week I try to do a live stream, and 2 weeks in a row, I'll do a class as well. Yeah. So I haven't considered redoing something that I think is already okay. And a lot of the older lessons are fine. I would teach one form and go into detail and good. I don't need to reteach it. But others of them, I think, I probably should reteach just because I didn't have enough time to really go over the topic in detail enough. And this was one of the other ones I wanted to redo. Noah, no, I watch it in Japanese with Korean. I'm not with Korean. Did I watch? I think I did watch a few episodes before with Korean subtitles. Typically I'll have English subtitles on, but I try not to use them. But I don't watch it dubbed. I don't know what the dub voices sound like, except for Grandpa. I know some of his English lines because they're funny. 저랑 빌리 선생님 팟캐스트를 들으실래요? So, 팟캐스트 같이 들어보실래요? Would you like to hear? Like, 들어보다 I think would probably be better, since it's not like you're just listening to it, but you're giving it a try. You're trying out to listen to it. If you're asking someone if they want to listen to it for their first time. How would you react if you heard a Korean using honorifics to themselves? Like if they were saying, 저도 가보실래요? It makes no sense. It doesn't sound like you're... In this case, there are some cases where you can use more polite speech about yourself as a joke, but in standard speech, it just sounds wrong, like you made a mistake. Dahlia says you're going to Korea for a university semester abroad. Nice. Any tips to prepare for university life in Seoul? How long are you going to be there? You're saying it's just one semester? So like just a few months? That'll depend. My advice to you will depend on that. How long are you going to be there? Olga asks, are the live streams the same time? They are the same time for me, but daylight savings, which happens twice a year, can change the time for other people. But yeah, normally they are. There just won't be one next Sunday. Yeah. Oh my God. That's right. Like that kind of thing. I know that, but other than that, I've never heard the English dub for that show. Nothing against it. I mean, I just prefer the original, I guess. And I don't need, I can, for those of you who don't know, I used to study Japanese, like really, really in depth for 3 years before I even started Korean. And so I got decent at understanding. I didn't get great at speaking though, but I could understand quite a lot. So I can watch that kind of show without subtitles until they start doing like explaining stuff in depth. Then I'm like, okay, I have to read this. They read the subtitles, like really long sentences. No, like when they're explaining rules of games and stuff. But for just conversation, it's not a big deal. Does this lesson go in line with video 15? I want the beginner course. No, that would be the 고싶다 form. But I did mention that form as well, which is just a desire. Want to, like I want to. Do you want to? Yes. Victoria says, I've heard the phrase 죽을래 in dramas when one character, yeah, you want to die? It can be said jokingly, but yeah, that's just like, I'm really angry right now is what it means. Yes, Keith, very mad. And Keith says, I've never watched JoJo. I've heard good things. You've heard wrong. It is psychotic. I don't know if I recommend anyone watch it unless you like really goofy stuff. It's pretty fun. My Korean Made Simple book was just delivered. Do the lessons match up with your beginner course? No, the Korean Made Simple book is meant for people who are like serious about learning Korean. You don't just want a taste of it, but like, I actually want to learn Korean. The reason is the books go into a lot more detail and everything's taught in kind of a structured way. Like here's one thing. Okay, now you know that. So now you can do this. Now you know that. So now you can do this, and gives notes along the way. The video course is meant for people who are just sitting back and watching a video. So it's kind of like spoon feeding. Now you still get a lot of the basics, but I trimmed it a lot from the book to make the video course, because if you're doing the video course, like you don't want to know, like, where did this verb come from? What's the difference between these two things? Because you're just watching a quick video. You just want to sit down and learn some Korean. You want to learn that topic, where the book will tell you that stuff. It's like, hey, well, these are the verbs. These are the exceptions and stuff, because it knows you're taking notes. It knows you're going to be doing this long term. And then the course will stop at 100 lessons, which is kind of like, it goes into some topics that are in book 2 and a couple from book 3. But the books are, like I said, they assume you're kind of going on to the full language. So they go a little bit higher than that. But you can use either to get started. It won't hurt my feelings, but they don't match. I would say though, pick the one you want to use as your main resource. Use the other one as a secondary resource, meaning you're following the structure of the first one and you can refer to the next one just for notes. Like if you see something in this course, if you're watching the video course alongside the book and you see something that you haven't learned yet in the books, write it down as a note, but don't stress about it yet. You'll get there in the books, and vice versa. But keep focused on the one that you picked. So that way you're not getting confused, because they do teach in a different order since it's for kind of a different purpose. Dahlia, okay, 4 months. All right. 4 months is not enough time to get fluent in Korean. It's not enough time to learn very much Korean, even if you're in Korea. But I will say, even for a short time, you're going to have the best trip if you say yes to a lot of things. Now, if a guy in Hongdae asks if you're open-minded, don't say yes. But for trying things out in Korea, like your friend invites you to go drinking, your friends are saying, oh, let's go. Actually, have friends. Make friends that you can hang out with. Check out this. Let's go hang out at this place together. Like, yes. Like, you're going to, in that 4 months, it's such a short time that I wouldn't stress too much about the Korean aspect of it. I would just try to get as much of an experience from it as I can. 4 months is enough time also to make lifelong friends. If you can make some friends before you go that you meet in Korea, they can be your friend for life. And you meet them every time you go to Korea, and you can talk with them in Korean while you're not in Korea and say, oh, I want to hang out. Let's go do this next time, like that. Try to get some friends before you go. When you get to Korea, it's going to be hard. I mean, it might be hard to make friends with the right people, because now you are I assume you're a native English speaker. A native English speaker, you're basically like a golden ticket to some people. Now, the majority of Koreans are very friendly and kind, just like anyone else. Some of them might want to see you as like free English practice. Some. Now, again, most are not, but some, and those some might be the ones that seek you out specifically. So you have to look out for that. I would say try to make friends before you go there. And then when you're in Korea, try to make actual Korean friends. Go to meetups. In fact, I have a podcast episode that's coming out in 3 weeks from now. So you'll have to wait a little bit. Let me see. 2, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Okay. 3 weeks from now, the podcast episode that comes out, I give a bunch of tips for how to actually make language exchange friends, and not just using the language apps, but more practical ways. And I'll tell you, one of them is you should use apps that are for meetups for Koreans. And if you have access to a Korean phone, this is easier. You're going to be there for 4 months, so it's possible. Are you going to get a Korean SIM card, a Korean phone number? If you do, try some of those. I'll explain more of them in the podcast episode. But if you can download apps for making friends in Korea, that would be really good. So like Tangun, that app, Somoim for making friends, even the Meetup app as well. But you want to make Korean friends, and you want to try to find Korean friends that want to speak Korean with you. That's the best thing that you can try doing. Beware the black leather jacket. Billy, what do you think about Soye? Calligraphy's cool. I wanted to do a video about Soye, actually. I just never did. But even if he has an iPhone 16 Pro Max, especially if he has an iPhone 16 Pro Max with a crack on the screen. I believe that in Korea, actually not just Korea, but all around the world, they have a service where you bring it to the Apple store, and then they'll crack your phone for you, so you don't have to worry about it. That way you can look cool. They do that in Korea too, I know. My advice is to stay longer. Yeah, that's the thing. 4 months is just so short to really give some good advice for what you can do with your time in Korea. It's only going to leave you wanting more. I'd agree with that. Oh, Polygon, hey. I've used Duolingo, but I wasn't happy with how it's progressing. Was so happy when I found your videos and more excited to start the books. Nice. Welcome. Yeah, 4 weeks. I mean, you know, any amount of time you're in Korea is going to be too short, but less than like 6 months, I wouldn't really worry about like, how am I going to learn Korean while I'm there? Any less than 6 months, I would say, don't worry about it. More than 6 months is when I would say, okay, here's what you need to do. Avoid these people, meet, do these types of meetups. But yeah, less than that, just enjoy your trip. Plus, you're not just going there for traveling, you're going there for learning too. But yeah, I would say that one thing though, is just be careful that you don't let yourself become someone's token English speaking friend. And I don't mean this to like make you not want to make friends with Koreans or like be cautious around Koreans. Koreans are super cool. There are going to be like, just say one person out of 100 that will think of you like that. And it's very small, but that one person will be the one that tries to go up to you first and tries to follow you and tries to be friends with you. So because of that, it might seem like there are more, but it's really not that many. But I would still say, try to make people that will speak to you in Korean as friends. And I mean, I've been going to Korea so many times, so I know how to tell which of those people they are. If someone approaches you and starts speaking to you at all in the first place, most of the time, like 99% of the time, it's either a cultist, which is actually very common in Korea, even more common than the English people, like people who really want to learn English. Cults are really common. 99% of the time, it's that. The 1% of the time, it's a person who's looking for a free English speaking teacher as a friend, I guess. Like they want to be, but like really looking like socially awkward sometimes. I've found sometimes if I go to an event and someone starts speaking with me in English, they go, "Oh, hello, where are you from?" Like if I'm at an event, it's not going to be a cult member because it's not a cult of, it's not like in public, it's like a paid event. It's going to be that 1% of the people who are looking for an English speaking friend. And if I was a attractive female, then it could be the Hongdae guy, that kind of person. I've seen people try to do that before as well. I actually saw that once. I was in Hongdae once filming a interview series. I'd have some interviews on my channel. One time I was filming and I saw a guy literally he's on his phone. He's like looking at a girl, a foreigner that I can tell it's another foreigner, someone who looked like she was from the US. And he's like looking at her. He walks up to her with his phone and he starts talking with her. I couldn't hear what he said. He's like, "Oh, hello," talking with her. And I can see her face. She kind of looks a little bit uncomfortable, but they're talking for a little bit and she gives him his phone number and he gives her his phone number and then he leaves. And I go up to her. "Hey, what did that guy say?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know. He's just like trying to talk with me and he got my phone number and I gave him his phone." I'm like, "Block him." And she's like, "Okay, thanks. I didn't know. It's my first time in Korea." I'm like, yeah, he's just some guy trying to, maybe make a quick girlfriend or something like that. But yeah, that's not the norm, but it does happen. And this also happened to be Hongdae, which is kind of funny. Keith says, "I was bummed I was not approached by any cults." That's because you weren't hanging out around the major train stations. That's why I found it's really common. If you want to be accosted by a cult in Korea, go to any like bigger than tiny, like they'll be around any subway exit, and just go kind of near a subway exit, like across the street from any subway exit, and you're going to see people standing there. There might be like someone standing there with some books. There might be someone standing there with a sign, or there might just be like a guy kind of standing around, like looking like this. That's the cultists. You can tell. Basically, if someone walks up to you and starts speaking to you in English and they're not like in danger, it's not someone you don't really want to talk with them. That's not a normal thing in Korea. It's safe to say if someone walks up to you in Korea and starts talking with you and they don't have a darn good reason, you don't want to be talking with them. And I've even heard people, like if someone comes up and asks you for directions in Korean, and they're a Korean person and they have like perfect Korean pronunciation, they're not like a foreigner thinking that, like if someone comes up to you and speaks in English and they don't look Korean, they could just be another traveler. Like if they have a backpack and they're lost and they just want your help because they think, oh, that person maybe lives here. That situation's happened a couple times, very rare. But if a Korean comes up to you and asks for directions, they're not lost. They just want to talk with you. It's probably a cult. Pulder Ashimika is one of them. That's the most memed one, but that's not the most common. Noah says it sounds scary. It's not scary, actually, because they want to present a really friendly, welcoming image to you. And the only part that would make you think it's a cult is when you're trying to leave. It's kind of like those do not reverse severe tire damage things in parking lots. Like it's totally easy. You can go in, no problem. But when you try to leave is when they're going to start bothering you. And when you're in there, they're going to ask for more money. Like a common thing is them asking you if you want to go see a traditional tea ceremony and try on hanbok. Do not go to that. That's a cult. But it's really common. If a monk asks you for money, he ain't no monk. Monks don't do that in their code. They do not ask you for money like that. And if they ask you for money and you can see they're holding a paper to fill out for donations, or they have a little gold looking like bookmark or trinket they're going to hand you, that's a cult. That's a scam. Or I should say it's a scam. I shouldn't say that's a cult. That's actually not an example. That's not a cult, but that's a scam. Avoid those people. Insadong, Myeongdong, sometimes, but especially Insadong, I found a lot. Anywhere where they're like, oh yeah, and also anywhere in the Gwanghwamun Gwangjang, in front with like the Sejong statue and the Isunsin statue and the Gyeongbokgung that whole area is like cult city and church, like all over the place. So yeah. It's also one of my favorite places to go to Korea just because I think it looks so pretty that I kind of accept that I'm going to be bothered there. Hanbok cult. It's not a Hanbok cult, but what it is they say they want to help tourists to Korea to experience Korean culture better. And part of it is doing like a traditional Korean tea ceremony and trying on hanbok. And you'll be like, oh, wow, I'm getting this cool cultural experience. What's it cost? Oh, no, it's free. You know, you finish it and they'll say, hey, we're doing this totally for free, but we would appreciate a donation. You don't have to, no pressure. And you think, oh, well, that was so nice. This must just be like a welcoming group that, you know, wants to help foreigners love Korea. You know, they're proud of Korea. No, it's a cult. They just want your money. And then they're hoping that you can tell your friends about it, get other people to join them. Sometimes they'll like actually, there was an issue before. I wasn't in Korea at the time, so I didn't get caught up in it. And I also probably wouldn't have gone, but there was a group that was doing YouTuber meetups in Korea that they would have like a YouTube group. So if you're a YouTuber like myself or someone else, they would contact you and say, hey, we're having a meetup for other YouTubers for networking, for fun. We have snacks. And I've gone to a couple of those types of events before. I usually avoid them, but I have been. Not to these ones though. This was actually run by a cult. And they would take pictures of everyone and they'd put it on their website and show off, look, you know, our cult is so multinational. But yeah, there have been, and then they would have, after the meetings, they would then have like a second meeting where they're trying to like indoctrinate you and tell you about their club or whatever. You just be careful. If anyone approaches you in Korea for anything, your like super sus alarm should be going off in your head. Like, I'm not saying that if someone comes up to you and speaks to you, that you should immediately be like, talk to the hand and like run away. Not necessarily, but I mean, turn on that light. Like, okay, Billy told me there's 99% chance this is going to be a cult or a scam or something like that, or a weird guy. And everything they say to you, put through that filter. And there will be times that it's actually totally okay. Like if a grandmother in her 70s walks up to you and starts talking with you, it doesn't necessarily mean she's in a cult. She could be. But I've also had some people, sometimes they can't see. They're like, oh, I can't see. I'm sorry. Can you tell me what time the train's coming? That's fine. It's just not common. Or some, you know, old lady in the subway or old man in the subway comes up and says, hey, do you know which stop I have to get off at this station? And I'll be like, oh, 방금 지났는데요. Like we just passed it. And they'll be like, oh, and he'll get off and go to the next one. Like that sort of situation can happen, but it should go through. It should like, you should have a little alarm pop up in your head when anyone talks to you. Like, it doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter if it turns out like, oh, they're just looking for friends. No. No one does that in Korea. No one just randomly walks up to you and asks you to be a friend. Unless you're in a bar in Korea, like clubs, that's the acceptable culture for that. If you're in like a bar or a club in Korea, you can go walk up and talk to people like in the US. In public though, you cannot. That's not a Korean thing. The funny thing though is that this is a culture difference. Funny thing though is actually a lot of younger Koreans nowadays kind of like that sort of thing, like talking to people freely, but they won't do it because it's too weird in their culture. Like even if they might be okay with someone else doing it to them, they themselves wouldn't do it first. So you can kind of get away with doing a little bit of small talk sometimes in Korea as a foreigner because many people actually are okay with that, but don't expect them to do that to you. I'm not picturing a Korean grandma cult. You'd be surprised. There are lots of churches that have majorly older members that will do the recruiting. I actually had that once. I was filming for a video. This again was in Hongdae because I always liked filming in Hongdae since over 10 years ago. I've liked filming in Hongdae. Specific parts of Hongdae are really nice to film in. And this lady asked me while I was carrying around my camera, she asked me, oh, what are you doing? Is this for TV? Which is actually not such a weird question for someone to ask if you're like carrying around a camera and a microphone. So it wasn't so much of like, I wasn't thinking, oh, cult. I was thinking maybe cult, but maybe just a curious Korean who's, you know, been abroad and knows that people can do small talk in public. So I was like, oh, you know, I'm just filming for YouTube. Oh, that's really cool. You know, oh, what kind of videos are you doing? Oh, I'm just asking people questions about Korea. Oh, can I see the questions? Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Do you want to interview me? And I'm like, oh, I actually just finished, but thanks. And she's like, oh, okay. Oh, and blah, blah, how long you been here? You know, talking like that. I'm thinking, okay, this is just some really friendly lady, but my alarm's still going off. You know, I'm still like cautious, but okay. She finished talking. I went inside to the convenience store and I got a drink, and I was sitting down a little bit farther from her now, like maybe 10 feet from her. And I overheard, and she's waiting like 10 feet away from me, sitting on the same bench as I am. So I can still hear her if I listen, and I'm listening because I see her friends arrive. 2 of her friends arrive. They're also women like herself, older women. And they start talking about going to the church later in the evening, and they're riding their bikes to the church later. And I remembered she had mentioned she has some like bike meetup group and asked if I wanted to go to it. And I thought she was joking. I think she was also like trying to recruit people. So even that like totally innocent conversation, which I was thinking she's just being unique a little bit. Even that was also an attempt to get me to go along with their church to do bike riding. Because she had mentioned that to me, like, oh, we're going to do bike riding later. You can come too. Ha ha ha. You know, anyway. My cousin went to Korea and said they use Google Translate. Hold on, let me check the time. All right, I'll just a few more minutes. I know we're talking about random stuff every time we do these classes. Insadong and Asadong. So amazing. Nice. If I go to Korea, I'm probably going to get approached by a cult member. No, that's not what I'm saying. But if you get approached by someone, your alarm should be going off saying this probably is a cult. Not that it 100% is, but Billy told me it probably is. I think that would be safe. And then filter everything through that alarm. Like, don't let your guard down. Even with that lady I was talking with, I was still thinking if she is going to like start talking about church or anything, I immediately would know what it is. And I'd say, oh, I'm not interested, and walk away. But she didn't do that. She was doing it like really casually, like trying to keep it light. Southern Philippines or Luzon, our local area. Wow. Yeah, that's bad. Have you been in Japan? Yeah, I have. I haven't been approached by those people in Japan though. Oh, actually, I think I probably have, but that was a long time ago. How safe is Korea compared to Japan? Similar? I'm not sure which would be more or less safe because I've never lived in Japan. I've only traveled there a bunch of times, but I don't have experience living there long term. I don't know. Kenner says, if you go up and ask Korean people things, will they think you're in a cult? Or no, they won't, because you look foreigner. If I go up to a Korean and start talking, they would never, like, that would be the last thing they would think, is that I'm a cult person. At least depending on what you're talking about. If you start talking about religion, then yeah, they're going to think, oh, it's one of those foreigners in a cult. But if you're just talking like regular things, man, the weather's, crazy, huh? Or, oh, excuse me, I have a question. Do you know where? They're not going to think that's a church. That's fine. I've never been to China. Similar to those scans in Europe where they offer you a free tour to the Colosseum or to the Barcelona's. Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Although they don't do that sort of, most of the churches in Korea don't do physical contact though. You don't have to worry so much about that. Usually it's more like, hey, let's do this. Come on, hurry. Let's do this. Come on, follow me. That's what I've had before. Not like grabbing hands. Although I have had that happen before as well. Specific churches will do that in Korea. I don't want to get into that in detail, but typically you're not going to have anything like that. Suegugin loves filming vlogs in Korea while walking because almost nobody stops to interrupt, so it's not normal people to randomly talk to you in the street. It's not normal people would talk with you if you're doing a stream. That's going to be the reason. If you're streaming, people are going to be avoiding you. So if he's filming in Korea and no one stops to interrupt him, it's because he's streaming. They see that. I did see a small group of people huddle around a dude with a megaphone across the street from Suwon. Ah, Suwonyak. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably the guy. I probably know who you're talking about. Suwonyak is pretty common. In fact, I was at Suwonyak a few years ago. This is kind of funny. So Suwonyak is also one of the places, in addition to every other station, I'm not singling that out. Just any major train station, any station that has like at least 2 trains that go to it. And I saw a couple foreigners were standing waiting for the elevator, and there were 2 Korean girls, no like badges, no special uniforms, just like wearing nice clothes or whatever, talking with the foreigners. And I saw the foreigners look confused, but they were speaking in Korean to them. I didn't hear what they said. I just saw the foreigners' faces, and I saw the Koreans' faces talking with them. And that's all it took. I went up to the people and I tapped them on the shoulder. I said, "This is a cult. Do not talk with them." And then the Koreans both looked at each other and then looked at me and then looked back at them. And then they looked at me and they're like, "Thanks." And then they walked off. I got in the elevator and just took it right back down. It's kind of common. You can also see like they'll spot someone and then they start like following after them. Yeah. Have you traveled or been to everywhere in Korea? Not yet. There are still a lot of big places I've never been to. I've never been to the like the Gangwon-do area. I've been some places in there, but I've never been to like the far east part. I've never been to Gangneung, which is the ocean side. I've also never been to the far southwest part of Korea at all. That entire coastline, I've never seen it. Or any of the cities there. I have been to a surprisingly large number of places though, but there's still some gaps where I've never seen before. Just because it would be hard to get there nowadays by myself. When I was, single and just kind of traveling around Korea, it's easier to say, "Hey, I'm just going to go down here for a day." But if I have to bring, Jeremy along and it's a 4-hour bus trip to get somewhere and 4 hours to get back, or we have to stay in a hotel there, it's like, I'm not going to go there unless there's a special reason or someone to meet. So yeah, I've been to Daegu a lot. I went to Daegu as soon as I was just there this year again. No, 2025. Last year, I went there twice. The year before, I also went there twice. And I've been there several times as well. So Pohang. I've never been to Pohang. I've been to Ulsan, not too far. And I've been to Busan and Daegu and a lot of other places. Never been to Pohang. Oh, Keith, have I narrowed down my meetup days? Not yet. I have to buy my plane ticket to Korea, but I'm not buying it yet because the prices are kind of going up. I'm going to see if I can wait until the price goes a bit back down. If not, I don't know. I won't know until I can buy my plane ticket though. Casting. Do I give private lessons? Yeah, for the right price? Normally though, I don't. I do have a page where I have like a calendar available for booking, but normally I don't, just because I feel like there should be a really good reason you want to have a private class with me. Like if you have specific concerns, not just like, I don't want to replace a regular tutor who's going to give you like lessons and homework and stuff. What I would do better would be like giving you customized feedback on where you're at and what you should do. Cosma can tell you about that if Cosma's here. But that's what would be my skill, is saying, okay, let's talk about, what are you doing? What have you studied? And what are your goals and all that stuff? And then take a look at that and how you currently speak Korean. And then here's the advice I'll give you for your specific situation. Here's where here are your gaps, and good luck, that sort of thing. See you again in a month or two. That's what I think I would excel at. But if you just want someone to do regular tutoring, I can't match their price because I'm too busy with my YouTube. I can't match, some of those italki tutors or pre-ply tutors will do it for like, $20 an hour. I'm like, I can't do that. I have videos to do. But if you still are okay, I do have pricey, to be honest, tutoring, or I'd say coaching is probably a better word, where I can do that if that's what you're looking for. Just send me a message on Discord. I just don't advertise it. But I do have a few people who've done that. Jeju Island is beautiful. I loved Jeju. Daegu Saturi video. Yes. Where can I see you speaking Japanese besides the 2 videos you did? まあでも上手じゃないと言ってましたけど、多少わかりますけど、I can understand a little bit. I'm just not very good at speaking. But if you want to see me speaking in Japanese, Where would you be able to see me speaking? I don't think I made any videos speaking in Japanese because like it's only something I would do for my friends. 大学生の時、ほとんどの友達が日本人で毎日勉強してましたけど、この頃は一緒に日本語を話す友達 there's a word I can't even think right now いないからあんまり喋っていません So, and my pronunciation is not going to be great. Granted, I'm going to give myself a break though, because this was 2002, 2003, and 2004 that I studied Japanese. And that's it. I haven't touched the language since then. So I'm like, you know what? Screw all y'all. I'm still pretty good for that. No, but my listening got decent. Like I can understand if it's nothing too hard, like regular speech, fine. But my speaking never really got that great because I only used it like forever ago. And even at my peak, like my best time speaking Japanese was probably like low intermediate level for speaking. Because I didn't have a lot of the knowledge of how to learn a language at that time. It was the first language that I was doing self-study for. And I had friends in college, but then it was like 1 year of my Japanese study I had friends to practice with, and the other 2 years were like self-study by myself. And I can read it, so you know, it's like it's kind of weird. Like I feel like I can't speak it very much, but if I go to Japan, yeah, sure, I can order stuff. I can ask for すみません、もう探してますけど、どこにあるのかわかりますか? So it sounds awkward, I know, and I have my accents and stuff, but it's enough for them to understand. It's enough for me to compare the two languages. But that's one of the things is like when I meet people who are learning Korean and they did Japanese first or vice versa, you can tell because the pronunciation is like going to be different. And the words you use in Japanese are even the particles, like the basic particles you use in Japanese are different than what you pick in Korean. And you can just tell if someone's speaking, like translating Japanese, like they sound like they speak Japanese. Even if they're really good in Korean, they have that little bit of something's going on there. But yeah, for those of you wondering, my Korean is much better. My Japanese would have been my language that I would be speaking right now, actually. If I never met Korean friends in college, I would still just be doing Japanese right now. I'd probably have ended up getting fluent in Japanese, you know, not what I have right now, but I probably would have kept going, you know, better pronunciation, everything. And maybe I would be doing a Learn Japanese with Go Billy Japanese as we speak. But I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I think there's plenty of content out there for Japanese and still not enough for Korean. I feel like there still needs to be more quality content for learning the Korean language. There's more though now than there was ever before, but still, I think there should be a little more. So if you wanted to now, could you learn it even better with the knowledge you have of Korean? Yeah, sure. Like I said, it's mostly just I've forgotten so much, and I haven't practiced my speaking very much at all. So pushing out the words, my brain is like not happy with it because it wants it to be Korean. But I do have a few friends who will prefer speaking in Japanese if I meet them, if I go to Japan. But it's just so uncommon. Like I don't have a use for it outside of listening. So yeah. Funnily enough though, my Japanese actually, even though like I said, it was, you know, over 20 years ago, like 22 years ago or whatever, since I stopped learning Japanese, my Japanese actually didn't get that much worse. My speaking, anyway, my pronunciation's worse, but my speaking didn't get that much worse over time because funnily enough, by studying Korean so in depth and by doing so much Korean practice, a lot of the grammar, as you know, a lot of the like sentence structure and like style of expressions, a lot of the idioms translate very nicely. So even though I'm getting better at Korean, you would think I would forget all of my Japanese, right? But actually, no. There's a small amount that's still being maintained despite doing absolutely nothing, just because it so correlates. That's the stuff that like matches really well with Korean, I guess. In fact, I remember the funny thing is, although I had forgotten, like before I was studying Korean, I actually was really getting into some advanced Japanese. So I had some books from Japanese college courses that I'd bought in Tokyo. and I was getting into Japanese dialect. In fact, I have a book right now in my room still. The book I bought was all on a specific Japanese dialect, and I was interested in it. Kanzai-ben, if anyone knows. So I was interested in various dialects in that region. There's several, actually. So I had a book that was going over all the different ones, the major ones. And I was like, oh, I really liked how like Kyoto-ben does this or whatever, or like Osaka-ben does this. And I was getting into dialects and stuff like that. But then I, studied in Korea and was speaking Korean, not touching Japanese forever. And comes finally when I get back to the US and I decide, oh, maybe I should do Japanese again. I don't know if I want to do Korean, I've done that enough. Maybe let's try something else. And that's when I was doing like Mandarin and Cantonese and all that stuff, trying Thai. I was actually like thinking it was funny because I actually didn't forget too much of my Japanese grammar for like understanding just because of my Korean getting better. And yeah, it was just kind of a funny thing. Like it didn't really hurt my Japanese that much. NY had Le Seraphim, and I thought I heard someone else. Another wave has totally came. Yeah, and then there's BTS coming back in March 20th, I believe. They have a new album coming out. The dialect book it's actually in English, teaching Japanese dialects with examples in Japanese. I still have all of my Japanese books. I had some pretty advanced stuff. Yeah, I have a kanji dictionary, a really thick kanji dictionary I was using, which is why I'm still interested in like Hanja and stuff, because I had a head start on that. And yeah, the dialect book, I had some classic stories book. I was reading some Natsume Soseki, if you know who that is, some famous poet, or I guess writer in Japan. I was reading some of his books, and they had a book that had all of his like most famous writings with vocabulary lists next to it and audio files and stuff. Yeah, I have a bunch of like fun stuff I was doing for there, but yeah, it's not useful anymore to me. What's the name of the Kanzai-ben book? Oh, you know what? I'd have to check. Yeah, I don't remember, but I have to check, but I have it. It's blue. If you see the book, blue cover. I know which dictionary. It's a big red one. It's like this thick kanji dictionary for learners, I believe. I think they still sell it. At that time, I paid like $50 for it at the bookstore. Probably still is that much. I don't know. It was thinner. It's like Bible page thin. It's ridiculous. But I did use that book. I didn't just buy it, but I was actually using it for my study a lot. Okay, I should probably stop the live stream unless you guys are still having fun. If you have another question, I'll feel free to answer that before I go. My Japanese at the beginner level, I also forgot most of kana and the kanji characters. Japanese sounds so hard. The funny thing is, Kodansha Kanji Learners course is blue. It's not that one. The funny thing is, Japanese is actually way more accessible than Korean for getting started because of the culture being different, because of the language being more high context, right? Meaning you don't need to say everything that you know, everything you want to say in Japanese. In Korean, it's that way too, where you don't have to, 그건 좀 그렇지 않나요? Like, you don't have to express everything you want to say. You can kind of do it indirectly in Korean. And Japanese is even more so that way. So because of that, you can get away with less in Japanese. You can say like, it is this, or for me, this, like, that's it. You can make really short sentences, especially as a tourist. I feel like Japanese is really easy to get started in. So many people start learning Japanese and say, oh, this is fun. This is easy. I can do lots of stuff in it. And the real reason is because the culture lets you do that. The way the language works, being vague somewhat in comparison to English, makes it work very nicely for that. But beyond the beginner level in Japanese, that's tough. And I remember, like, as soon as you get past the basics, like, have fun. Like, you think politeness levels are hard in Korean? Actually, they are hard in Japanese too. But I think Korean are harder. But Japanese has like a whole different way it works. So you can't like just take them and apply them over to Korean. What else was hard? Oh yeah, I remember numbers were actually quite difficult in Japanese because you have to learn different words for every number, for every counter. And now there are patterns. Like I remember like nikko for like counting small things. So you have to like learn unique words. You can't just learn the counter by itself. And then if you want to learn kanji, every kanji has multiple readings. Whereas in Korean, most of the time it's one. Occasionally you get two. If it's like the like one of those letters that goes away, like a lir or a nian, for example, which can change and you can end up with two readings. Some characters actually do have multiple readings that are separate than that. So you could get three in Hanja, but usually it's just one you have to worry about. In Japanese, like 5 is like the minimum. Like so many of these characters have, I think like the one for day, for sun, has like 12 or something ridiculous. Like it's just a mess. It's just such a mess. And every word you have to know how to read it. You can't just know that character and what it means and how it is said. You have to know also how is it said in this combination, and then names. Good God, like everyone's name can be written however the heck they want to and just read it however they want to, especially with some of the uncommon ones. So yeah. Yeah, that's enough about Japanese though. Just Judy, thank you. I heard BTS and looked it up. Happy New Year. Hope I can time my June visit with yours. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I'll definitely be there in June. Yeah, BTS coming back March 20th. I should have my Stray Kids series posted though before then, so give you something to watch while you're waiting. Do you think Korean was more difficult in the beginning level? Yeah, Korean I think has a steep slope when you're first getting started. Like Korean's like, welcome to Korea, sucker, and like, you know, throws you out of the boat. And Japanese is like, oh, welcome, oh, dozo, come in here. You know, it's very easy to get started. And then it stabs you once you get past the beginner level. And it's like, haha, I tricked you. It's just like Korean. I think beyond the beginner level, they're both ridiculously difficult if you're looking at them from an English speaker's perspective. Now, once you've gotten into that, once you've already gotten up to those levels, then they're, you know, they're both, you can do both of them. It's not like they're impossible or anything. It's just if you expect that it's going to be like an easy path that everything gets spoon fed to you, both languages you're going to have a hard time. But I think Japanese kind of has a good way of tricking you into getting started with it because, you know, it looks so easy. Oh, just learn these letters. It's only like 80 or so. You're fine. Oh, it's just another version of the same 80. You're fine. Just for foreign words. Oh, it's just a couple thousand characters. You're fine. Oh, there's just different readings for all of these, and you actually have to learn them because furigana won't be there. And, you know, came here from the Just Korean collab. Oh, yeah. She's great. She's one of my favorite people to meet in Korea. Not just for collaborations, but just it's fun hanging out with her. So we went to Daegu again and filmed that video. It was actually, I wanted to just hang out in Daegu again, but you can't just go to Daegu and hang out. So I'm like, okay, we'll film a video while we're here. And then we got some really, really good sundae. It was the best sundae I had in my entire life. I'm not joking. That was the best sundae I've ever had in my entire life. I told her that as well. And it was so good, man. But I will tell you, I smelled so bad. Like, I shower every day, okay? I'm a pretty clean person. I don't like sweating. I like being clean. But that something in that sundae, my God, I was like, I wanted to avoid me walking outside. Like after I left, a few hours later, I'm like walking home. I'm like, what is that horrid that is me. It was horrible. And so immediately when I got home, I'm like, okay, well, you know, sundae must be garlic or something. Haha. You know, took a shower, got nice and clean, went to bed. The entire bed smelled like that. It was like, my God. Still, I would do it again. 10 out of 10. Best sundae of my life. Yeah, she's really cool. 안녕하세요 민나 to someone. Oh yes, you don't want to do that. I watched Sugi and Cameron videos to know I'm not going to try learning Japanese. No, I mean, you can learn whatever you want. I have fun with both. And I think that the cool thing about Japanese is that you can learn a little bit and get a lot of use out of it when you go to Japan. Because I swear, you can say like the simplest things. And it's like, oh, now you're a Japanese speaker. Yeah. You know, you get away, oh, domo. Like things are really simple to say. You don't have to worry so much about the politeness levels as strict as in Korea. Just be generically polite and you're good in Japan. So I think it's kind of fun in that way. Whereas Korean, you really got to learn a base. Like there's a certain amount of things you have to learn before it becomes semi-useful besides like hello and thank you, just because of how many different conjugations they have for everything. And Japanese has conjugations too. I just think they're a lot simpler. Japanese decided to use their native words with Chinese characters. Yeah, exactly. Koreans only use Sino-Korean words with Chinese characters. Yeah, the thing is they both languages, though, borrow about 60% of their vocabulary from Chinese. So that's at least nice that if you already know those Korean words, then if you learn the Japanese word and look up what the characters are, you can find the equivalent Korean word pretty easily most of the time. HOT and Turbo, wow. Casting. All of my series I do come from my Patreon members. This time I asked them if I should review BTS, Stray Kids, I think P1 Harmony, Red Velvet, Le Sserafim, and a couple others or whatever. And then most people voted for, barely, but most people voted for Stray Kids. So I take suggestions, and those vote options came from originally from what people were suggesting. So lots of people said, hey, Billy, you should make a series all about Stray Kids. You haven't done one. You only did, Felix and Bangtan. You haven't done the others. So most people said that. So that's why I got on the vote in the first place. And then among those, they won. So if you want me to do a specific group, you have to join my Patreon page. There's no other way. I don't take suggestions on YouTube comments because, my Patreon members that's what they're expecting is for me to do what they want. So, but yeah, if they want me to do HOT, that would be awesome. I'll do a whole video all about Candy. I'll be wrestling in Korea in late. What? You're wrestling in Korea? That is awesome. Yeah, even just learning kana would allow you to read a lot of signage. Yeah, I always feel that too. Like when I first went to Japan in 2004, I had been learning it through self-study for just over a year, and I could not speak it at all. Like I can make some basic sentences in writing and I can understand some really simple stuff, but I couldn't really speak it. And it was so useful in 2004, like so useful. I got so much use out of it. But that wouldn't have happened with Korean, I think. So yeah, just the different ways the languages work. I think though, which language is harder? There's no such thing. They're both the same. I think they're both easy and they're both difficult. And in Korean, the nice thing though, is you can be literate in Korean. Technically in 10 minutes, you can be good at the language though, a few weeks of practice, you can be able to read and write it at, slow speed, but you can do it. You can read signs in just a few minutes of practice. So I think that's kind of a nice benefit, is not having to worry about all the kanji so much. Did the kanji you knew in Japanese help you learn Korean vocab? Not so much, because by the time, as far as like reading and writing, no, not so much. Some of the vocabulary did transfer over, so yes. But I wasn't trying to translate so much stuff from Korean to from Japanese to Korean when I was learning. I was actually trying to do it the other way. I was trying to translate stuff I was learning in Korean back into Japanese. It didn't really end up helping. I made more progress once I finally just ditched Japanese and decided to focus on one language. HOT 2026 is their 30-year anniversary. Oh, wow. I have a group I would love for you to analyze. Is it the rose? Because you put a rose at the end of your message. But they're not that small. They're pretty big. I do pro wrestling. It's my excuse to get on the big scary plane and go. Oh, that's cool. I've never seen a wrestling show. You're wrestling in Korea? But it's in March. I'm not going to be in there in March. Can't you just delay the wrestling match? Tell them you want to see Billy and ask if they'll do it in June for you. Please. Then I'll go watch it. You said you're holding off buying your airline ticket. How far in advance will you buy them? Normally, I'll actually buy it almost a year early. There would be, typically they do a sale on plane tickets like fall of the year before, which is when I buy it, like during fall time, but they didn't this year. There is another airline though opening up, which is adding a route going to LAX as well. There's a new airline, like routes opening up soon. So I don't know what the prices are going to be for the airline I normally take. Typically though, I'll buy them at least by like at least 4 or 5 months in advance is what I like to do, because once you buy it like a month in advance, you're just going to do the full price at that point. The only way to buy it cheap again would be either on sale, or you just get really lucky that you like go to the airport and there's a cheaper ticket like they needed to sell or something. But yeah, try to buy it just in advance and then use the Google Flights feature to find the cheapest time and the cheapest day. So if your day is not exactly like strict, like I have to leave on this day and come back on that day, then use Google Flights and pick the cheapest day, which is what I do. You can typically save several hundreds of dollars just by flying on a different day. Like if I say, oh, I want to fly sometime this week, closer to the weekend. Well, Wednesday is, $500 cheaper than Thursday. So I'll always do that. And then come back on this day is a lot cheaper, stay an extra week, but save money. T-Way, I haven't taken it, but T-Way can be ridiculously cheap if you hate yourself, because the flight times are like 5 a.m. or something. So how do you do that? You have to sleep at the airport, essentially. You have to go to the airport the night before, because there's no buses that will run that early to get you there, or take a taxi at like 3 a.m. You have to call a taxi, or Kakao taxi app. You're not going to find a taxi randomly just walking around. Yeah, if you are okay with that, then T-Way has some really cheap tickets. That's probably the cheapest way to fly from Korea to other neighboring countries, or to fly other parts in Korea if you need. Like if you wanted to go to Jeju, or you wanted to go to Japan, or you want to do a day trip over to Hong Kong or something like that, then T-Way would be what you want to use. Do I know QW? I don't know. The wrestling scene in Korea is small. All Korea Wrestling is the company name. Okay. All Korea Wrestling. I didn't know. What kind of wrestling? Is it like Korean wrestling? Like, are you doing like Shiram? Or is this like American style wrestling where it's my impression of like The Rock. It doesn't matter what your name is. Is that, what kind of wrestling are we talking about? I'm thinking of going for their 30th anniversary concert. Oh, if they do one, that would be cool. Why do I always end up buying flights 3 months before? I don't recommend. It depends on the airline. Air Premia sale. Yeah, the Air Premia sale they would normally do, at least they normally would do it in August. But they didn't do it this year in August. So, I don't know. They might do another one. The sale, though, is pretty good. It'll be like half off for whenever you go, but it's only for the between a certain time, like between this date and this date, it's half off. Pro wrestling, American style. Okay. WWE style, big theater. Okay. I won't make a reference something politics. Can you do a video on how to travel to Korea for those of us who aren't experienced international travelers? That would be a great idea. I do have a video, like 8 things you should know before you come to Korea. Check that out first, but I do like your idea as well. Or round trips to Korea cheaper, or one ways back and forth? Round trips are always cheaper than one way. Yeah, because I mean, you're buying both at the same time. So there's always a discount on that. Cheapest will always be major airport. So you're just flying to Incheon airport from whatever major airport is closest to you. That'll always be the cheapest ones. But yeah, there are going to be some new flights opening up. I can't remember the name. It's not Busan Air. There's another airline that's going to be starting flights this year in a few months. But I haven't heard that they started booking yet or how much it's going to cost. But it should be a little cheaper. But I don't know when they're going to start selling the tickets. And even if it is, it's not going to be a lot cheaper. It would just be maybe like $100 per ticket or something. I don't know. Air Premia used to be that. It used to be really cheap. Like a couple hundred, $200-300 cheaper than Korean Air. But the problem is so many people are flying to Korea. And even last year was like a 40% jump, like 40% jump over normal. So because of that, all the airlines are like, they're just going to charge whatever they want. And they made the prices pretty much identical across the board, even though you get way better service and way better food if you fly Korean Air than Air Premia. But Air Premia was supposed to be the budget version. So yeah, I don't know. Tony, okay, I'm glad you got it. Oh, you know what I was thinking. As soon as you said WWE style. You may need a round trip for the KTA or the health declaration form. Yeah, they'll want to know when you're coming back. I'm not sure if it's a requirement because I always just do a round trip anyway. So I'm not sure yeah, that's right. That's true. They might require the round trip ticket to show that you're going to be leaving Korea after the time. Yeah. Parata Air. That's right. Parata Air is the newer one. Thank you. But I don't know when they're going to start selling. If Parata Air, if you are watching, reach out to me, offer me a free plane ticket, and I'll make a video about you. Just dropped my tablet. I mean, hey, I'm curious about them. I'm sure other people are curious if they're good value. Korea, Asiana. Yeah, Asiana, I've taken them as well. They're okay. Food's better in Korean Air though. I've been on all of the ones that offer flights to Korea from the US. And Delta, United, Korean Air, Air Premia, Asiana. I think I did Thai Air as well once. Best was Korean Air. Like in every metric, Korean Air was better. Like service, how friendly they are to you. Even do they speak Korean to you or not? Like there are all these little different details. And then the food and the entertainment, it was all better on Korean Air. But you pay more for it. So that's why I haven't flown them in probably like 5 or 6 years. Yeah. I think the last time I flew them was like 2021. Anyway, I don't have a sponsor I don't have an airline sponsor, so you're welcome to reach out. Parata, if you're watching. Okay, I should probably stop now because I've been going for like an hour after the classes ended, but let's check real quick. Hopefully you guys aren't getting bored. What do you think is the best way or the steps to learn Korean first? Start with the alphabet, 100%. Whatever you're doing, alphabet first. Sentence structure, I wouldn't worry about it. You're going to get that, like it's part of the lesson, but I wouldn't stress about beyond subject, object, verb. Beyond that, don't worry. You'll get the others as you do grammar forms. And then I have a beginner course you can start with, which will tell you the other stuff you can do in the beginning. United had some good entertainment among the smallest seats. Yeah. Air Premia has the best, the worst in-flight entertainment I've ever seen on any flight. I mean, I'm comparing this with flights from the 90s where you would have one TV that you share and they put on the screen like an old episode of Seinfeld. Like I'm talking even compared to that, Air Premia is worse. Somehow it manages to be worse. They have like a movie selection which has 5 movies you've never wanted to hear about, 10 episodes of a random TV show you're not interested in, 1 episode of a TV show you kind of like, but it's the same episode they had 3 months ago. So when you fly back from Korea, you still don't have any selection. And then a map that will update, like it's not frames per second, it's like seconds per frame to show where the plane is going. That's it. Like it's so bare bones that I'll turn it on and I'll always check, like, is there a TV show I can watch? Maybe there will be like a cooking show or something, like 1 episode of a cooking show. But that's it. It's pretty, lackluster. When's your next live class? 2 weeks from today, not next Sunday. There's no live stream on Sunday. Okay, that's enough for today. Before we talk more about flights and Colts and everything like that, thank you everyone for coming. I had fun, and I will see you again next time, which will be in 2 weeks. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.